I met this guy who was a futurist, and it's a great job if you can land it, be a futurist, uh, especially if you focus on 10 years into the future. Then it's hard to you can get paid pretty well, at least for the next 10 years. And he was I'm not downplaying the importance of the future, of people who think about the future. I was fascinated with the future, since my early age, and I actually went and I tried to interview Arthur C. Clarke, who was a great it was a sci-fi writer, was a great extrapolator. 95% of what he extrapolated about the future actually came to be, right? So I like that part. But the reason I'm bringing this person up is because we were talking, and I was trying to talk to him about that web of connections that you mentioned, and that was years ago, right? And he was all into the technology and the AI and the robots and this and that and all, and he would put all these posts up about all these technical things that are going to happen. And I tried to bring in other elements, and he kind of just glossed over all of it. Although he liked crosswords, he liked the idea, he agreed with a lot, but his mind wasn't there. And then now, fast forward to now, coronavirus, he's locked at home somewhere. All he's talking about is the beautiful animals hopping in his meadow, and he's making, he's getting into cooking. He's made the Kung Pao chicken, and he's talking to his friends. It's like all the talk about the future and technology just like evaporated. It all became that. So I think it's very telling, because I think that at the end of the day, we see that technology is not really playing a crucial role in this situation right now. It really is down to how we relate to one another. So if you could see that, then you would see that this is the only place that needs our attention, really. And if we actually agree to do it, agree to spend some time on that, you can find everything, like all the future technology. It's all hidden in that place.
Ooh.
So that's what I think.
Whoa! You just said something that I think is kind of mind-opening. Technology, the real technology, or the future technology, lies in that web. And that's kind of what Seth was starting to talk about as well. Maybe we can develop this a little bit. Seth, you were saying also how, it's funny that, you even thought about someone today, and then that person called you. And some of us always, we experience things like that. But let's talk about that technology. What is that technology of connection? Let's try to speak about that.
When we start to have an idea about something, right? I just had an idea.
Yeah.
It is, well, you could even go back, like you could make it super, super simple. Like, I want a pizza or something. Those thoughts come to you because you were fed advertising throughout the day or throughout the week. And so then when you're hungry, right, you do that. But even bigger ideas that we have, I just had an idea. These are things that are in the system. It doesn't just come from nowhere. Energy is not destroyed or created. The energy is in the system. So when Leo's saying like, well, technology is not playing such a big role, of course, we're connecting to Zoom and we all have phones and things like that, but really it's all serving whatever we're doing, right? If we want to rally to destroy something, we'll use Zoom to figure out how to we'll all meet at 8:00 and we'll tear down a statue. If we're going to use the technology to unite people from, 40 countries like that's happening here, and everybody's trying to envision some future, and we'll see literally, like, as we think about this more and more, you'll see politicians talk about it, and you'll see all of a sudden a celebrity talks about it, and you'll see some idea pop up somewhere, because there is a network. And unfortunately, we don't have on our merchandise section of our non-existent website the filter that you can put over your eyes to see all of these connections and how the thoughts enter into that network. There's like an internet between us that exists, and we don't understand it. This is one of the most important things we tried to speak about for the first 3 months of the coronavirus, is that we were constantly feeding into that system negativity towards others. Just, I go out to work in order to get something for myself. In traffic, I want to cut somebody off for myself. I go to the grocery store, I'm trying to get in front of someone else. Every relationship was about what I can get for myself. And that led to the world that we had. And so now the point is, from the 0 point, everybody back in their house, how do we emerge back into the world with a new software?
So the virus is not just revealing the network. It's revealing to us the network of connections between us. That's one. But it also gradually pushes us to move from matter to spirit, from our material bodily existence and perception of reality to a more kind of subtle, sensitive perception of what reality is. And it's actually very interesting when you think about the quarantine and the lockdown and social distancing, which is now playing out again. So many countries are now once again entering the second quarantine. And so the virus pushes us away from each other physically, but because it reveals the network of connections between us, helps us see that we're dependent and connected to each other, then it enables us to start moving towards each other internally. Like you said, I mean, if we could start caring for each other, that would mean that we're starting to get closer to each other, even though we're physically apart. And maybe if we would start doing that as a human species, maybe we would get some positive feedback from nature itself. Maybe we would start to see that this whole virus is a natural balancing act of the system that is trying to balance its part called the human species, trying to push it towards balance somehow. But we have to do our part. We have to add our conscious part to this whole dance. And so if this is true, then we're supposed to disconnect from each other physically. Social distancing is something that's happening now globally, not just because some health experts came up with this idea, but this is something that's been brewing within nature to help us human beings find a deeper, more internal, less material, less physical kind of concern and care for each other that is missing in the whole system. And that is the technology.